Welcome, everyone, to the review of WWE Great Balls of Fire. So, pretty much what I'm going to do is just go through each match, just say some stuff I thought that was cool, bad about each one, just go through some stuff through my notes. So, yeah, we'll get started with the opening match, Bray Wyatt versus Seth Rollins. I thought the match was good for an opening match. I liked Wyatt doing his mind games with his head at the beginning. Another thing I like where he threw pretty much Seth on the steel steps, but it was off the apron, so it looked different and it looked pretty brutal. Different stuff is always good for the company, and it's not just like the generic where they're out on the floor and he just throws them into the steps. I thought the overall match was pretty good. It never really dragged. It was a good medium-paced match, especially when you have a great worker in Rollins, or I should say like an excellent worker in Rollins and a great worker in Wyatt. So, again, they put on a pretty good opening match. Rollins was selling pretty good for Wyatt, so he made him look pretty good. I thought it was funny how the announcers could not explain why they are fighting. They had a video package before, but obviously that didn't do much. Another funny thing is I thought, Graves said Wyatt needs to back up his talk of actual wins, which is funny because, that's a big thing the internet wrestling community believes. How can he be believable if he ain't winning? But he says all this stuff about him being like some type of god. And I'm glad Wyatt won. The only thing is, I know he poked him in the eye, and I know I'm recording this after Raw happened, so it looks like they're both gonna be done because then Wyatt pinned Rollins cleanly on Raw, and then Rollins is getting in a feud with Miz now, so looks like that's the end for both. But again, it was probably for the best. Like I said again, the match was good. The crowd reaction was pretty good for it, especially with the lack of story, and that leads me to the next point: is this story for these two? I have no idea what it is. Didn't know what it was. No, I probably never will. I thought it's laughable that even Rollins' character doesn't even know why Wyatt's coming after him. So I'm glad it's over. Glad we can move on. It's probably for the best for the two. Hopefully maybe in the future they can have a better story that makes more sense because they're two great workers and, they both deserve to be in good stories. Next match, Enzo Amore versus Big Cass. The match was good. It served its purpose of showing pretty much that there's no way Enzo could have beat Cass. Pretty much Cass dominated the whole time. Enzo, I think, had a little sequence where he gave some hope. Again, nothing really there. Seems like they're going to move on from this again after Raw. It looks like Cass might have a match with Big Show. So, again, nothing really. It just showed, Cass is obviously, he's going to be a pretty hated heel. Just some side notes from this. I thought, interesting that it was the same arena they debuted in. I didn't know that. Again, just a neat little fact. The promo before the match, I didn't mind by Enzo, but I guess my problem with it, though, is that they showed a video package to explain this whole story of why this match is happening, and Enzo pretty much just repeated it in a different way. Again, and it was pretty long. I don't mind when Enzo talks, but I always got annoyed when he would, stay on, talk longer, pretty much than what I thought he was supposed to. So again, I thought it was a little bit of ranting, but again, it was all right. Didn't bother me too much, but I'm hoping that's something they can cut down in the future. And then another thing, I guess, new thing is Cass's new theme song, which it's not bad. Again, it's just another generic WWE theme song, just to give it to a guy so he just has a song. And, I thought there's some parts that sound like it was part of a Transformers movie. Again, a little weird, but, usually when they give a guy a new song, usually the first one, sometimes it doesn't always stick and they'll find him a new one. So we'll see if that. Another highlight, Cass who ends over the ropes. Looked much more brutal, but I guess, Cass being 7 foot and Enzo being as small as he is. And then the only thing with his, I guess I never noticed this. I don't know. Was Cass's finisher always the big boot? I hope he gets a new finisher. Because Yeah, it looks brutal, but that does not look like a finishing move. I mean, anyone can give a big boot. You see guys do it just as a regular move. That's not even like a signature move. So, I mean, I hope that, again, I like his character. I mean, he's a pretty good in-ring worker. I mean, he's not like not like AJ Styles, but he's good, especially for a big guy. But I'm hoping that, maybe a little better theme music and better finisher that I think that can help him a lot. So, again, hopefully, I don't know where the feud's going from here. But, again, it looks like Cass will be going to the top. And Enzo, who knows where Enzo's going. All right, and our next match is the Hardy Boys versus Sheamus and Cesaro. This was probably my favorite match of the night. I think more because I'm just impressed because it was a 30-minute Iron Man tag match. But, I mean, just a lot of different stuff that happened here, and they kept it interesting through the whole 30 minutes, especially with a tag team match. Those usually only can go for like 15 at most. I thought they did a very good job. I loved in the beginning where Cesaro, where he just he wasn't the legal man, but he just ran and just slid under the ropes and then pretty much distracted Matt Hardy, and Sheamus went for the bro kick and got the pin in the first minute. I mean, that's stuff you don't see a lot, and you can do more of it because of this type of match where, there's going to be as many pinfalls as you want. And again, I just love the unique pinfall of it. Throughout the match, you heard the delete chants again, which is cool because I think they're getting closer to the broken characters. I'm going to one day talk about that on a different video, but again, that was neat. A lot of taunting by Sheamus and Cesaro. Again, understandable for a 30-minute match. Now, I wouldn't want that to happen in a regular tag match. But again, pretty good. I saw there's a thing Matt was going for a twist of fate, and Sheamus countered it, and then Matt countered back with a DDT again. I like that kind of different stuff. You don't see a lot, like a counter to a counter. But that's all good stuff. And then I thought it got slow after the first pinfall, but again, it picked up at the 16-minute mark. So again, because most of the time it was the Hardys, again, trying to, just survive the match with their, with whatever endurance they have, because they're so old. But again, that's what you have to do for this type of match. And then, highlight, Jeff jumps on top of Matt's back over the top rope. They pretty much do a front flip. I don't know exactly the name of the move, but I'm shocked because these guys are so old. I wouldn't be shocked if they did, if it was a Mania match, SummerSlam, but again, for a pay-per-view, just Great Balls of Fire. I mean, that I liked it, but because they're so old, I don't want them to hurt themselves. But hey, if they know what they can do, so I'm fine with it. Again, I made the match a lot of fun, and I think obviously they're probably doing that just because 30-minute match. Again, great. And then another unique pinfall is with the Hardy. I think Matt rolled him up from behind, and then Jeff held his I think it was Cesaro's legs down with his own legs. Again, just another unique pinfall you don't see a lot. It makes it interesting. I thought the match picked up at the end, which had to happen again when I think it was tied 3-3, and then Cesaro just got a pinfall out of nowhere. That was cool. The one thing I thought I would never see again, Matt Hardy doing a moonsaw. I thought he was done with that because one, he rarely did it at the first place, and now he's older. So, wow. Again, I love when they bring out the old stuff or stuff that you think they couldn't do anymore. But again, I think the match was just great. A lot of unique pinfalls. I mean, it was just my favorite match of the night. Just again, especially being a 30-minute Iron Man match, but. I know on Raw, it looks like the Hardys, it looks like they were getting closer to be broken, and I know they got beat by the Club, and then the Revival came out, so we'll see what happens there. And then with Sheamus and Cesaro, I have no idea because most of the tag teams in the division on Raw are heels, so we'll see where that goes. So, after that tag match, we got Alexa Bliss versus Sasha Banks. I thought the match was good. The beginning had some nice grappling maneuvers. I guess my favorite part of the match was when Bliss did the thing of her double I think her arm's double jointed. It's her left arm, I think, and I love when she does that because it's such a heel move. like, why wouldn't you use that? And, I think she should do it more often. I know she did on SmackDown a couple weeks ago, or months ago, my bad. But I think that's something she should do, maybe not for every pay-per-view, but, like, more of the bigger ones, like SummerSlam, Mania, Rumble. But, again, I love that. There were some rough shots here. I know there was one where Banks got, like, her back got hit hard on the apron. I mean, especially for someone being so injury-prone as she is, or at least she was, I thought that, it was pretty rough, especially for a women's match, but I liked it, so that was great. Another nice move, Bliss doing a sunset flip. Again, you don't see that a lot from the women competitors, but again, women's wrestling is getting better by like each day, pretty much in WWE, and that's a great thing. So again, love that a lot. The count-out victory for Bliss. See, I'm a fan of it. I know not a lot of people are, because to me, I'm like, when heels have the belt, why don't they do it? And I know the match was good, and people want to see a real like finish to the match, but I like, and that's the type of heel Bliss is. She's not gonna out wrestle anyone. She ain't gonna outpower anyone, but she always outthinks her opponent. So I thought that was very smart for her being a heel. The aftermatch beatdown, though, I think that made up for what people are mad about the finish, because that was just, again, very strong highlight after the match, and especially with Banks doing, like, jumping off the table with the double knees. Again, a lot of great stuff. So pretty much after a very strong women's match, we got a match we have seen a lot of times on free TV and pay-per-view. The Miz versus Dean Ambrose for the same title, the Intercontinental. And I'm just going to keep this short. There was nothing special here. I love The Miz. Ambrose, he's been trending down on my list just because I just don't think he's done a lot, with his character. I'm not saying it's his fault, but that's just the way it is. I'm going to leave it at this. I felt like they were just going through the motions. Then again, they have fought so many times. How much more can you expect them to do? But I'm glad that, if Rollins being added to the rivalry, that it'll change up a little bit. Just hopefully they are both moving on very soon. So, pretty much after the, disappointing Intercontinental match, we got Roman Reigns versus Braun Strowman in an ambulance match. And you know what? For me not being the biggest Reigns fan, I never really liked him even from that much, like from the beginning of his career. Again, he put on a good match with Braun. Two guys that aren't like ring masters, but Roman does know how to lead a match. I thought it was a pretty good match for an ambulance match. Very physical, a lot of great energy. Wasn't really like a wrestling masterpiece, but they had a lot of power moves, like highlight moves, stuff they can make a good highlight reel with. A lot of great stuff. Again, I guess my favorite part of the match was when Strowman was no-selling the chair shots, and just Reigns' reaction and his face and Braun's face I thought was hilarious. Reigns getting thrown to the side of the ambulance was a good use of that, just to get the actual ambulance involved. Another thing, I thought there was a good sequence with Reigns like trying to get Braun into the ambulance, and he kept doing like a Superman punch. Was trying to get everyone all like hyped up. Maybe could he spear him in the ambulance? So that was good. Strowman using the backboard, again, rarely used weapon. What again is fun to see, stuff you haven't, it's fun to see stuff that aren't used a lot. Another big moment I thought was Strowman getting pushed through the light screen. Again, that is one of my, not used a lot, and one of my, not one of my favorite, but like it's a very unique thing, and I always enjoy when they bring that into a match. At the end of the match, Strowman ducked to get Reigns in the ambulance, and I'm like fine with it because it shows like Strowman's like a smart monster, but the other part of me is like, I just want to see Strowman just toss him in there. I don't like, it just seems like a little too smart for him. I don't know. Usually he's all about the power moves. So, again, good match, and, I think it helped both of them. And I don't know if that's exactly the end of the rivalry, because with Raw, with Reigns fighting Joe, and you don't know where Strowman is, so don't exactly know. But I think the biggest thing that came from this was after the match, Slater versus Hawkins. No, okay. That was, I'm not even going to talk about that. I don't consider that a real match because they didn't even show it on TV. But, if Reigns putting Strowman in the ambulance and, like, pretty much driving in the back of the bus, it's like, was that a double turn? I don't know because, WWE loves to they want to keep Reigns face, but, it's not working. But, I thought the time was after Taker. Like, I still think it is, but, this is almost as big as that. I mean, when he really tried to hurt Strowman, it was bad, and that's a heel move. So we'll see. And I guess another thing, if Braun walking out of that by himself and not wanting medical attention, again, helps the character. You got a beat down. I mean, it shows that you still can't keep Braun down. But, we'll see where these two go, especially after Raw with Reigns trying to get the Universal title. Maybe it'll be a fatal four-way with Brock, Joe, Strowman, and Reigns. But, we'll see what happens. So, for the main event, we had Brock Lesnar versus Samoa Joe. Considering Brock hasn't had like a long match in almost a year just because of his feud with Goldberg, I thought the match was longer. And overall, I thought it was a pretty good match. I liked the beginning where Joe just went like ballistic, and when they're still even announcing Brock, he just attacked him before the bell even rang. Again, great stuff. Just shows Joe will do anything. He wants just to beat him. He's been wrestling, like they said, for like 18 years. Like, it's just, I love him putting him through the table was great. Just being like, just going crazy on him. I mean, it was just awesome. Someone taking it to Brock like that. I mean, I know Goldberg did, but we all knew that, Goldberg couldn't be in the match. You knew Joe could actually stay in there long and put on a better match with him. I guess I know after that, it slowed down a little bit with, they were doing, it was weird. They did give each other knees and like a lot of like amateur wrestling moves. And I like that because, Brock's a UFC fighter and, they don't like try to make it like a complete like professional wrestling match. You have to bring some realism into it. So that was good. Another thing, Joe giving Brock the low blow. Again, another thing where it's like he'll do anything to win. I like that, especially Heyman's reaction to it. That's always fun to watch. And then pretty much that. I don't know the name of Joe's finisher, like the submission. I know what it is. I can't. I listen to it. I can't pronounce it right. So it's like the Coquita clutch or something like that. I'm not sure. Again, I liked how Brock was getting weak. The only thing. There's a couple things I thought with the ending because I thought everything leading up to the ending was great, but I think with Brock giving Joe the F5, just taking one, and I think he only attempted it one time, or maybe I don't know if he attempted it another time before, but I thought Joe pretty much got his finisher on Brock 3 times, and he still couldn't put him away, and Brock literally had to hit his once, and he put Joe away. I thought, to make Joe look a little stronger, at least have him kick out, or at least have him counter it, just, to help him out. But, that was just a little gripe. And the other thing is I just wish the match lasted longer. I think, it could have, because I know Brock can be in there longer, because look at his matches when he came back earlier, even just like 2 years ago. So, I think, it was a good match, but I hope these two fight again, or at least I don't care if it's with other people, just I hope they're in a match together again, and that's what I'm hoping, that it'll be a triple threat or a fatal four at SummerSlam, because just two big guys going at it, especially if you had Reigns and Strowman, that'd be a very, very strong main event match, and I think it would help a lot of people tune in for the pay-per-view. But that's pretty much it, guys. Again, it's first pay-per-view review for this channel. I hope you liked it. I'm going to be doing more of them. Please leave comments what I can do better or what you liked about it. And just what you guys thought of the pay-per-view. Sorry it's late. I'm going to make sure the next one I'm going to review it like right after the pay-per-view's over. But again, hope any new viewers, please subscribe and be posting a lot more stuff soon.